It's a look back at the weekend like you never. I normally, when I watch sport, I'll sit at my house and, by myself, because my anxiety levels don't. I'm a Man United supporter.
Is it a safe thing though?
Yeah?
Is it a safe thing to have anxiety and still be on your own?
But I'm a Man United supporter. I expect anything at any time. So I'm sitting there by myself, and then I realized I can't watch. So I have to put it on mute, right? And then be on my phone and keep looking up, as if like I'm stealing moments. And then I realized, no, I can't even read what's on my phone. So I need to watch.
Sure.
What an unbelievable 40 minutes, especially that last 10 minutes. If you ever hear somebody say 10 minutes, 10 minutes is the longest time. Unbelievable.
Yeah,
Lawrence Sephaka joins me, former Springbok here. He was just as anxious for a game he knows all too well. The Springboks are through to the semi-finals of the Rugby World Cup in France after beating the home team, the French, who, we could argue this, were possibly the better team on the day. 28-29 is how it went down. When you take a look at the scorecard and what South Africa were able to do in that 80 minutes, Kurtley Arendse was the first to score a try, then Damian Dialinde, Chaslin Kobe, what a try that was, but it was that Eben Etzebeth try in the 67th minute. Just raw powering over that line. He made up for the 10 minutes in the bin. He absolutely made up for it. Manny Liebach with the boot as well in the conversions, converting 2 of those. Andre Pollard coming in as well. And of course, that penalty by Andre Pollard in the 69th minute also having a lot to do with what happened. There were some great key moments. in that match. The 10 minutes in bin was one. The yellow card, that was one. Chaslin Kobe, when he chased down the penalty kick, that was the other. There were just so many great moments in that match, and I'd love to have your word on it. But because this is the first time I get to breathe when talking about it. Lawrence Sephaka is with me. Lawrence, welcome back to the studios. You haven't been here in a very long time.
Yeah, it's been ages. It feels weird. I feel like you added some rooms here.
Talk to me about yesterday. The French team brought it. They gave us the match that we wanted. If there ever was to be a semi-final, I want it to be like that.
My guy, I don't think it's safe if you're emotionally invested.
No.
The other semi-final was a crack of a match. Maybe the difference, we were not
the England-Fiji game.
No. That was easy. I'm talking about the New Zealand Island game.
Oh, the New Zealand Island.
Yes,
good game that as well.
We enjoyed it because
good game
we
as well.
For the other guys to win. But when you're emotionally invested, it's a whole different ball game altogether. I tell you, my man, if you have ever done exercises without moving, that was the day. Those guys had us on edge, and what a game it was.
What a game it was indeed.
What a game it was.
South Africa has booted France, the host of the World Cup, out of the competition by defeating them 29-28 in Saint-Denis on Sunday and secured a place in the semi-final against England next weekend. We play England next weekend on Saturday at 9 o'clock at night. We play England in the semi-final. And then in the Cricket World Cup, we play England again on Saturday morning at 10 o'clock. So it's South Africa versus England in 2 World Cups on the same day.
I'm going back into history now. Talking about Anglo-Boer War happening
this
all
is
over
it.
again.
This is the Anglo-Boer War all over again. This is us against our colonizers. It's crazy. It's crazy. France captain Antoine Dupont criticized the referee after his side crashed out of the World Cup. Scrum half Dupont said that match official Ben Okofe should have penalized South Africa for slowing down French position when the home-sided were at advantage. I think as far as the refereeing is concerned, and it's one of the first things I want to test at, I think the French have every right to be mad. But I think the South Africans are too. And when a ref is unfair on both sides, surely it's fair.
It's a fair game. I was worried about I was excited about the game, but I was actually worried about the man in the middle. Because you could be the pinnacle, actually a center of attention, instead of the game being focused who did what or not on that day. And how it turns out that he was evenly bet on both sides, it's fair game. Then you gotta I thought actually South Africa didn't play him very well. Because most of the time they actually waited for his approval while they were coming all sorts of directions, and he will react after. And then usually when it's late, he doesn't actually do anything about it. And now when it's our turn, Sia had a clear daylight of stealing a ball because it happened 3 times with Kitchoff. That was Pern trying to steal a ball. He's like, listen, I'm not taking chances here. I'll rather leave it and actually. When they looked at him, he waited so long that actually the little scrum have a chance to actually get that ball. Was a small arm wrestle, which shows how strong he is. Good, I couldn't grab the ball from his arms as well.
And he wasn't a small. I mean, he's a small guy compared to what Sia is. Listen. It's going to be one of those moments where in history you remember. I remember exactly where I was in 95. I remember exactly where I was in 96 when Bafana did it. I remember exactly where I was when Alan Donald and Lance Klusner did what they did. It's just one of those moments. Renier Swart, you heard his commentary a little bit before we started, and I'm hoping that he's going to be joining me on Sport at 10 because so many people want to know about this Renier Swart who changes languages so much. Somebody even mentioned that he speaks a bit of Xhosa. I said, hey, Renier. But I can tell you now that his Afrikaans and his English is Tswana commentary with a little bit of Sotho there and there is absolutely amazing. He joins us on the line as well, commentator here at the SABC Sport. Renier?
Thank you, Andile, and thank you very much for your listeners. It's a joy to talk to you guys again, and a good day, Lawrence. It's nice to speak to you again as well.
Renier, I don't think you're going to be able to walk the streets of South Africa after this World Cup. You seem to be the breakout star at the SABC's broadcast.
No, I don't think so. I think we must still stay humble and be ourselves. Yes, it's grateful that I'm very grateful that I have the opportunity to do this and to bring it to the masses of the people. The rugby, the beautiful game that we like. Speaking
of the beautiful game, it was exactly that last night, wasn't it? It was a match like what we anticipated it to be. I thought, let me see, there was a Portugal game. Who were they playing? That was absolutely brilliant. I think it was was it the Fiji-Portugal game? Brilliant game. I thought, surely this is going to be the game of the World Cup. Even the opener, New Zealand-France, I thought, geez, what a game. And you can go to Ireland, New Zealand as well. But without being biased, surely last night, from just a purist point of view of rugby, one of the best games I've ever seen. It was incredible, tactically so, technically so, and in any other way I can think of.
No, for sure. I think it was one of the best games I've seen, and I've seen a lot of rugby games. And I'll tell you, I wasn't sure if I had to go and see my cardiologist today because my heart stopped a few times during the commentary, especially in that first 10 minutes. I think that put such a lot of pressure on us at that stage that we were actually a little bit scattered on the field, which worried me, especially with that first driving maul, I think. And Lawrence had a good, at halftime, he had a good explanation on what happened there in that specific driving maul at the line out. But that, I think it stopped a lot of people's hearts, South African supporters. And the French they were amazing. They had a very good game. We were. I don't want to say we were lucky, but our defence at stages worked very well, and we could stop it. I don't want to say it worked always, but it worked at stages. When we were not scattered around on the field, I think we did very well. You can see in the tries that the tries that they scored, especially the two tries that were scored by the prop Bailey, were soft tries. Especially the first one, it was very soft because we were not ready at that stage. And but an amazing game, a really a good game, where you could see all the things. We should have just seen one drop. Then we would have seen everything that could happen on a.
And there was an attempt, wasn't there? I think late in the second half there was an attempt for the drop there. Was I dreaming it?
No, we did it.
Oh, you mean from their end?
Yeah, I know, but I mean, if we could have just had a drop through the posts.
Yeah, there was an attempt.
The last 2 minutes.
Yeah, the last couple of minutes. Cheslin Colby, I think, tried to drop at some point.
From scrum off.
I remember that, Cheslin tried. But with that being said, if you go in the history of rugby, right, you get told this was an amazing game and South Africa won it, and you go look at the stats, Lawrence, which I have in front of me now, and you look at the meters carried, the French are going to be better. You look at the runs, the French are going to be better. The carries over game 9, the passes, defenders beaten, 43 compared to 12 of us, right? You go to the Moles won, 4 versus us 1. The Rucks won. They won 103. We won only 56, right? You go to, what else was important here? The scrums, and the big one for us, of course, was the missed tackles. You go to the missed tackles. We missed 43. They missed 12.
That's probably the most they've had as a whole World Cup.
You look at that, and then you tell somebody that the Springboks won that match.
That was a smash and grab. That's all you can call it, because you don't understand. There was one team on the field, and you got to feel for them at some point. That, listen, they put everything in that game, and they did everything right. They caught us unawares. We know they were coming, but how we started, like jeepers, shell shock. Did we miss warm up at some point? Did something goes? They were coming at us like, yo, this is gonna be a long day at the office. Hopefully, these guys wake up very quickly and very fast. And quickly did they wake up, because what I like about that game, they were controlling the play. They were getting their way in terms of their structure, scoring from that. But what they were not ready for is a counterpunch at Springbok. Every time they scored, they created something out of the box. Because they couldn't control the kicks from scrum half. They couldn't control the box kicks, and that put them under pressure, because that's where our tries came from. Broken play, unstructured play, and then obviously those strike runners outside. Yes. Special.
Renier, I was saying a little bit earlier that my standout player, man of the match, and there was a lot that we could have picked from, not only from the South African team in this particular game. For me, I loved what Eben added, especially after the yellow. I think he almost came up and said, I need to make up for it, and he did. The yellow card, though, I think, and I mean, I saw it as many times as you would have seen it. Surely, if you judge by the standards of this World Cup, that was a yellow all day.
That was a yellow for sure. And you're right. Eben really played out of his shoes, especially when he came back. And before as well, he was all around in the field, and I think he realized how important his whole being there was for the South African team. And he would have been my man of the match all day long. And if I had to choose on the other side, then really Piatu Movaka was just an amazing hooker.
11 carries over line, yeah.
He just played an amazing game, and if they were on the winning side, I'm sure that he would have been the guy who would have been the man of the match. Who
else stood out for you?
Well, in Cheslin Colby, obviously what he did. I mean, Cheslin, in every time it's magic what he does. You know, that charge down of the conversion.
Oh, come on now! Come on now!
How quick is
Do you know how short that man is? He's not the tallest guy, Cheslin Colby. To be able to charge down, be that quick, and still make it.
It was just amazing. And he had a wonderful game. Whenever he touched the ball, he was like a jackal or a rabbit being chased by a jackal. He did everything when he had the ball in hand. And look how he cut through that French players at a stage. And really, he was again one of our top players that we had. I think but the whole team, at the end of the day, the whole team, because we won, we can say today that the whole team did well when they were not scattered on the field, when they had a little bit of discipline again and structure. The whole team did very well.
You know, out of every World Cup comes moments that you see for the rest of your life. I mean, we're still watching in adverts, in life in general. We're still watching the Stransky drop, right? You still see it every now and then. You see that. You still see the Mapimpi run. I think it was 19, 2019?
Yes.
You still see that. You still see the Jonah Lomo, James Small tackle every now and then, the dragon tackle. You still see those things. I promise you, 10, 15, 20 years from today, you're going to still see that Chelsea moment, the Kobe moment somewhere. You're going to see it, be it in an advert, be it in somebody reliving the game. You're going to see that moment, Lawrence.
That was crucial, because if you think about it as well, that was the 3 points that could have really sunk us. Or 2 points for that matter, because they only needed a point to actually beat us. Otherwise, a point is a draw. How on earth? Because I think I've never seen it. I mean, a lot of people are going through their minds. People are having hurdles behind the pole after someone's just considered a try. He was open-minded. He was actually so awake. Even the French didn't see it coming, because they could have warned him, listen, make it a bit quicker, Obviously, they're trying to work the time and to the T. And Ramos is a great kicker. And actually, for him, the kind of ground he covered so quickly, that just show, I think he's very quick. I mean, Ramos lifted his head and hit that thing that the man was right.
He couldn't believe it.
He was right here.
He couldn't believe it.
He literally was distraught. He's like, what just happened? And that was actually crucial, because they lost by a point. And anything above 2 points or one point, that's all they needed. But you talk about Cheslin Colby, I mean, he's so special. He's so special that even the French, when he touches the ball, they seem to withdraw and actually try to check my coast, who's covering me, because this man can skim in any time. Every time he touched the ball, and actually every time he touched the ball, it's a time that seemed like the Bok was sort of down. Somehow they were like struggling to find their feet. And he would start something, spark something. And immediately after that, you can see guys get up and actually start going again. I mean, he was special. He did so much things that actually ignited that team. And every time like the light goes down, he'll be the light to just ignite things and to come back again. Listen, I pick him. And there's a lot other players that, I mean, for me, if I really have to take a moment, is the last 2 minutes. That's where the team effort. I mean, don't forget Kwaha.
Oh, Kwaha
what
Smith.
devastation he was when he actually came on at the time. And you talk about, I was laughing at the end. I mean, obviously, Jack threw in the 8.0 split as well. It was trying to pull a Mickey there. No, because when you think about it, that 5-3, that's what everyone traditionally knows.
Yeah.
And then obviously that 5-3, they knew it was going to be crucial when we're chasing, or maybe we need to cover. We need people who are sharp, who are fit, who can actually do a lot of work within a short space of time. And Kwaha was very instrumental in that area. And the team effort for me was the last 2 minutes. Everyone's discipline was on point.
Let me tell you about that charge down. Charles Ncube has had a moment to talk about it since after the match. And he said, this is Charles Ncube now, Chaslin Ncube saying, I think it definitely helped me that I played with Thomas Ramos for 6 years and knew what he was doing. I did everything by the book and within the rules. I was behind the line before he started his run. I tried to run as fast as possible to charge it down. I wanted to make him feel a bit of pressure and nerves.
Oh, he did more.
So having played with him, he knew exactly what he was doing.
And actually knew exactly his stance, how he actually walks as well. And remember now, running and walking could be the same thing depending how short the walk is and how long the run is, because he's timed it to perfection. And he knows him. He knows his way of setting up as well. Listen, we didn't know it. We only were shocked as well as much as Ramos, but Ramos didn't actually think
he didn't think
that's a possibility as well.
It's 18:30. We're going to be taking your calls. Anything you want to speak about the Springboks? Where were you? Who were you with? What did you think of the moment? What were some of your key highlights of yesterday? It certainly was Springbok Day. I wish it was a Saturday because it did call for a Sunday of celebration the day after. But hopefully we'll be able to do it this coming weekend because they do play on a Saturday against England. That Sunday should be reserved for nothing but a little bit of partying courtesy of the Springboks. When we come back, 36th minute and 18 seconds. The score is 19-19, right? South Africa, in their own 22, make a decision that till today the world is wondering about. Were we that confident, or was it scrum we called something we should talk about? Let's take a break. Hey, a lot of you are asking for that commentary. The man behind the mic is with us now, Renier Swart. Absolutely amazing what we did there. But Renier, that moment that I'm talking about, it had me bewildered. I was like, what are we doing? It's 19-19, 36 minutes, 18 seconds have passed. And I'm like, in a match that has been as close as it is and we are on the back foot, why would you do that?
And guess the person who calls it as well is a man who's right at the back. I mean, the pot is on ball point there. He's suffering. I mean, Antonio has in the 6s and 7s. Here goes the fullback and says, no. Without even asking the captain, he's like, we're going scrumming. We're going to start it from here and actually take it out from there. That was some bravery. And I mean, that also sent a signal to the forwards, wherever they were walking from. It's like, yo,
they must have been.
What was he smoking?
I can't imagine they
but
were
also,
happy.
they must have been thinking, he must have a confidence in us, so we cannot let him down. Because it actually last scrum was solid enough to get what they wanted to do and get out of dodge.
Renier, you agree? I thought, no, man. There was no consultation here. Was he nervous? Did he make a mistake?
I was amazed. I nearly fell off my chair at that specific stage. I mean, getting a free kick and then deciding that it should be a scrum, and you as a fullback. But as Lawrence said, maybe it was a thing to get the mood up with the forwards and saying we have trust in you guys. We're in our 22-meter area, and you guys can do it here from here, and it actually worked out. Strategically, I was amazed. I didn't know what to say at that specific stage because I didn't know how it now all of a sudden happened that the free kick becomes a scrum. Obviously, you as the team have the choice to do it, but I didn't think that would come from Willemse.
Yeah, no, Damien Willems there. The whole world is still talking about it at the moment to say, what was that move? Was it within consultation? Is it something that was thought of? But he obviously felt very confident in it, and fortunately for him, it worked out.
Fortunately, it worked out, and luckily he had the captain at that stage was Bongi, and I think it pushed all of them in a higher gear in the scrums itself. There
were moments where I thought, and we can speak a little bit about Sia's game, and then we can speak about Sia's leadership, the two things, because I felt we needed his leadership in the second half, particularly with the decisions that were being made. Ieben, it wasn't, I think his mind was on the game. There was a time when I think a ball came off a French player at some point, and the ref called it. And Faf, I think, was the one that tried. And by the way, amazing game by Faf. But talk to me about the two things: Sia in 80 minutes, well, in the time that he got to play, and his leadership. Leadership needed towards the end. Great when he's on the field. But what do you make of his time on the field?
Well, I think. Okay, yeah, Lawrence.
No, gaan Renier gaan. Want kan die man se oë sien so jy kan maar gaan.
That's a good point, Lawrence. Yes, I think Sia did well in the time that he was on. I think that
I think it was 45 minutes, yeah.
Yeah, we needed him a bit longer. Because at that stage, what amazed me, that Dion Fourie at the stage were going on at O'Keefe a lot of times. And trying to find out what's going on. It was as if there wasn't that whole thing of this guy is the guy who's our leader, and he has to find out from O'Keefe. Because let's be frank, O'Keefe had a blunder of a game, going to both sides. I think it was the worst refereeing that I've seen in years, in all aspects, and not only going against South Africa, but even against the French. He wasn't at the same game that we watched a lot of times, but that was to me a surprise that Dion Fourie was a guy who went and spoke every time, and later on Faf de Klerk even the whole those are the two players that I can put out. And if Sia was on the field at that specific stage, I think it could have turned in another direction. But O'Keefe at that stage didn't want to listen to those guys. He wanted to listen to a authority captain who's on the field at that specific stage.
Lawrence?
Actually, I think the coaches probably realized that opportunity, but I'll take you back to a point where I think South Africa has pulled another wool over World Rugby's face again without them even realizing. Remember Peter Steph the two was taken off for a head concussion test, something that they might have picked up at some point. And then all the time, what's his name was off? Dwayne. And remember when Dwayne was off, Say was also taken off. So those are some of the strong leadership that they actually had that needed to take control. Often Bonambi's got a bit of leadership as well. At the time, Bonambi, we felt he probably had a knock somewhere around the game. He was not himself. Something was not going right. We know he might have been tired as well. He hasn't played a rugby match in 3 weeks. Now they're trying to push him for 80 because I know how crucial he is. So his mind was probably in a lot of places, but probably not where as a leadership should be. And they made that realization. And what did they do? Remember they put in the reserve hooker into flank because they know they needed wheels, they needed running wheels. And Sia must have been tapped up at that time. Understandably, that game was intense. So obviously the change was made. And obviously subsequently when Bonambi was taken over about 74 and he went back to hooker, now they brought Dwayne back. Remember, he was a replacement for concussion, and they brought Peter Steph back again for concussion. So clearly, he was cleared for the concussion, and he came back. And apparently, Peter V tells me that was not supposed to happen.
In the 74th, yeah, he came back.
Yes, and what happened in that point in time, if it was not supposed to happen, I mean, there's officials whose job is exactly to monitor that. So it means someone else fell asleep, or the Springboks was just sharp, or the game was so intense, everyone was on edge. Not able to actually to notice. Well, we don't mind because it worked in our favor, because when Dwayne went back, you could see the stability in terms of leadership. That thing was starting to stabilize because you didn't want that game to raffle out of control where Tom, Dick and Harry is having a say, and then that's what Ben O'Keefe At that point, he's going to start chasing people away because he doesn't have a direct line of communication with someone. Because how you come to talk to him as well, at a certain point, you need to be very clear. You're coming as the captain, see us off. So you come with a certain tone, not fighting with him, but trying to find out what's happening. And I understand that part. They fixed it on the run. That's what I think I give him kudos. Because they realize there's a problem here. Let's fix this and then carry on. Because obviously Say was tired. But emotionally and mentally he was not, because he was still on his feet, pushing everyone on from the side.
Yeah,
of
he
the
never
field.
sat.
So basically he never said once he came home. You know
stood on the side of the pitch and, I mean, shouting at the referee, at his players. What an amazing leader. This generation will never forget having the leadership that they've had in Siya Kolisi. Very quickly, because I want to quickly throw forward to the England match. But before that, big talk. Even we had that conversation with the two of you gentlemen as to who do you start at the 10. Between Mani and Andre, who do you start there? The decision was made. It became what it became. What do you make of how Mani and Andre were used in this game?
Well, understandably, if they wanted to play technical, I mean, a lot of people, sometimes I think for me, we've said it before, either you start Pollard to bring Libbok on. Libbok would probably speed up the game. But they chose to go with Libbok to give him that confidence that, listen, you're still in position. You're still in charge of this thing. But I think at that point in time, they took him off. That's when they probably needed him more, because he probably had more in the tank than Pollard would have had at that time. And when Pollard came in, the things were a bit raffled out a bit. And sometimes it was found in awkward positions. I mean, Pollard doesn't miss tackles easy. And sometimes it was just shown, obviously shown up a bit, because I think he was rushed. He was not controlled. The game became a bit loose. So I would think they must continue like they started like that. They must continue like that. Now they can't chop and change going to the next semi-final, because you'll mess up the melody or the rhythm of the team that you have. Whatever mistakes they might have picked up in this game. England, remember, you can't even go in this game and try to improve how you play against France, because you can't play against France again. That you bank it. You look at your own basic mistakes you made in this game, and then you assess what England is bringing, where the opportunities are lying, where can they improve. But scrum is one of those. They need to stand up big time. And I think that's the time they're going to remind them again, 2019.
Renier?
No, I agree with Lawrence on that. I think, to me, it worked. But as we say, it's a different game when you go to England. But I will still start with
Mani.
Libbok, with Mani, and bring Pollard on later on. That first kick of Mani kicking at post, it gave him a lot of confidence, and he was good in the time, especially the time that he was on. We were under such pressure, and he did well. He did well with his down the line passes. He did well on defense, and as Lawrence has said, I've never seen a lot of missed tackles from Pollard, and it happened. So I think the combination, or the way that they did it, I think it will work again for England. But we must also remember, we must look behind that as well, what we're going to do.
Having seen England in the semi-finals before us, we're taking them on now. I had said, if we beat France, it gives us a straight shoot. And I think I said this conversation with you, it gives us a straight shoot to the final against New Zealand. That was my prediction and my thoughts. I don't think England, at the form they're at right now, should be an issue for South Africa, Renier.
I don't think they should be. I don't want to say it to the South African players. I want to tell them that England is a very dangerous team that's going to be on the field. But in my heart, in my mind, I don't think it's a big obstacle, but we mustn't take it for granted. We must really go all out, and even if we stack up a lot of points against them, it will be good. They are still a team that's in the semi-final, and a team that if you look at their team against Fiji, I would have backed Fiji at the end. It was just the penalty kicks that actually let England go through. So on other aspects of the game, I think we can control them. We can definitely win them, but our team mustn't underestimate them. And I think Rassie will definitely bring that into our team, that we shouldn't underestimate England, because they had an easy route to the semi-final, and they didn't do well in their games that they played.
086-0002160. Taking your calls now. I'm talking about all things Springboks, not only yesterday, but looking forward as well. 060-552-7303 is your WhatsApp line. There's a feeling that this was the French's best opportunity in history to win a World Cup. When you look at the team that is, when you look at what the 14s are doing in France at the moment, the best league in the world, when you look at the best player in the world comes from France, this was their golden generation and golden opportunity to win the World Cup. This was it.
As a South African, I must say, I really feel for them. But at the same side, it's like, listen, you have to think home as well. And suppose we are happy, but we are actually feeling for them the pain they're going through right now, because they really think, they've been in a couple of finals and it hasn't gone their way.
Yeah.
And they've always been away from home. This was the time for them to actually shine and we even said it, whoever wins here might as well just walk to the final. You know what I mean? Razi can even drop those other guys to play against England.
Oh, well.
No, wait. I don't say he must. I don't say he must, because you're not taking them for granted. But doesn't stop you from playing with your team, because remember, they've been building a team. And then obviously, even now, you can probably even see the split change going for England. You can then afford to go play your 6-2 or your 7-1
yeah.
better. And it's up to them. They can do that. But the thing is, though, you don't want to mess around with that continuity going to the final. So, but on the same time as well, you need to assess what kind of situation those players' bodies are. We don't know at this point in time, because we didn't see anyone
I
get
worry a
injured.
little bit about Eben. I think he took quite a beating in this match.
That's the area you can afford to actually sacrifice him, have a break, because you're going to the final either or. Because there's other players in the group that actually can fill in, that are actually on ice right now, that can make a difference. I think it wouldn't be a problem in that regard, but you don't want to change a lot. But if you feel a player plays another game, whatever nigglehead might become a major injury, you don't really put him under the bus. You really save him and actually preserve him. And they did it with Bonambi.
This is true.
So, you know what I mean? And Bonambi came through. It probably the most time he's played in the Springbok jersey starting.
Let's take a break. After the break, go straight into your voice notes and your calls. CC, I see you. Sinong, I see you. Tabo, I see you. And everybody else. We'll take your calls just now.
Hey, my man. What a fighting spirit from the box. Those players, they really know why they are wearing those jerseys.
100%.
They really know.
100%.
Despite what to call the fighting spirit, man. The fighting spirit. Yes, it's amazing.
100%. I agree.
Good evening, Andile. Good evening to the guests in the studio. Man, yesterday I was in my house by myself. I couldn't get to
Sephaka.
watch the match fully. I had to record the match, watch a little bit of this, come back to the match, check the score for 15 seconds, go back to something else.
What?
Till the match was done, and I
No,
knew we
Chief.
won. I had to rewatch the match after the match.
No, Chief. I can't.
I was too nervous to watch the match, man.
Good evening, Andile and the team. Guys, revenge. What a sweet revenge.
You did speak of revenge.
I was just not happy with the match official. The referee, I don't know if I'm saying no more. He tried. Yes, he tried. I'm totally happy with the guys. The last 10 minutes, I think Bongi Bonambi played a very, very crucial role. He made sure everyone stayed disciplined. Bonambi, Waha Smith, everyone, 50 leg, they just knew that we can't be making any mistake. I'm so happy for the guys.
Give Faf the lead, guys. Give him the lead. Eben and Faf, give them the lead.
Good evening, Andile.
Hey.
What a game. Kwacha, wrong 10. Kwacha Smith. What a guy. He reminds me of Busquets. Kela xesha lika Xavi, no Iniesta. Just does his job. Nothing fancy.
See what happens when you bring
He's
footballers
just there
into
to do
rugby.
his job.
Zamba zonke, Zambi.
No spotlight on him.
Zambi.
Fighting spirit.
Gokwak. Banele Mtsotso Delft.
Oh, thank you so much, Bernard. I appreciate it. Let's go to Sinong. Sinong is out in Rustenburg. Sinong, I've got Renier here. I've got, what does Peter call him? He calls him the back. What does he call you? Peter de Villiers has always got a name for you. Hey, Sinong, welcome.
Oh, I really enjoyed that game, but I could barely watch the last minute of the game, because it was very tough. It was close. There was a time where you switch off, you switch on.
And it was not load shedding.
And Mr. Renier,
No more Mr. Renier. Oh man, if you want to know what Renier looks like, I'm hoping we're going to secure him for Sport at 10 on Wednesday. We'll level the Sport at 10.
Hey, sure, Mike. I'm check.
Thank you so much, Sinong. Let's go to Mandilake. Mandilake is out in Deep Sloot. Ola. Mjana, I'm happy.
Yeah, sonke as the South Africans are happy. First of all, I will say Ncube is my man of the match. Yes,
can't argue.
But Ncube, I think Lando will win the World Cup. He knows he's feeling to win the World Cup. That's what I said before. I said New Zealand is 3 times world champions. New Zealand is our biggest rival. No matter they are not in good form, we rather play France because the Lamliti put Andile. If I got the Yabamba, they don't know the feeling of the World Cup. That's why Ncube bedlalela ukufa. So I can play any Northern Hemisphere any day than playing.
Okay, Mandilake's line is not great there, but spot on. I mean, 3 teams in the Southern Hemisphere, only 1 up north. And this was a World Cup that was said is going to be strongly leaned towards the north, but it wasn't to be. Mandilake and Deep Sloot, not a great line there, but thank you so much. Let's go to SK. SK is in Cape Town. Hey, SK. Hey, man, talk to us.
Bro, hands off to South Africa. Hands off to Amabogobogo. They're very, very, very good in playing them. Yeah. I was so emotional, bro. I was so emotional. I couldn't sleep. I wake up in bed and then go to next door and watch with people. You know, I couldn't watch it with myself alone. Because maybe I was a from the start of the match until the end of the match.
Boy. Andimtaka.
I couldn't. Next door.
SK out in Cape Town, I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Let's go to Ubito out in Cape Town as well. Andile. Hey, Ma.
Imagine.
Talk to me.
Imagine this, heart attack.
Imali yabantwana yesikole boy.
Yazi ngifuna ukesha out ngiyafuna into bangiphinde ndibukele andiyazi until because Andile yazi ngibukela ifinal and nami ndodwa and bangathi ndingolela abantwana bayavuka baphinde bawutshona ndiphinde ndithi hambana abantu Andile was like bendigu-good dad and bad dad at the very same time because abantwana bazoyisigela kusasa nami ngenza noise.
Andile, listen man, you gave me a good laugh. I appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Sharp.
Thank you so much, man. Really appreciate it. Let's go to Cece. Cece's out in Middleburg. Hey, Cece. Cece, you there?
Yes, I'm
Cece, let's hear it. I mean, you might as well have been in the studio analyzing the game for us. We know how you are. Go for it. Go for it.
You know, I thought it was a very nice quote by the great Mike Tyson. He says everyone has a plan until you get. We had a plan, and then we were just tunnels all over. We were all over that Stade de France stadium. The French actually did their homework on us. I think three games that they looked at: the Mount Smart game, the Ireland game, and the Tonga game. So you saw with the Tonga game, those 3 tries that they scored against us. That's what they used. And then the Ireland game and the breakdowns were very slow and So we saw how the French were at the breakdowns. I mean, I think that's why Sia was actually even substituted. Because the brain was the only
Cece, I'm actually going to stop you. Cece,
yes.
What do you do for a living?
I watch sport for a living.
I think, honestly speaking, I think you have a great talent.
Yeah,
I think your ability to analyze rugby in the way that you've done so since we started here, I think that's a great talent. I'm going to hand your number over. I'm going to hand you back to Timmy. Let Timmy take your number. I think there's something there. I think the way you speak about sport, the technical ability that you have in this game, and the passion that you clearly have is brilliant. Just give your number to Timmy, and then we'll have a word with you. But thank you so much for giving us what you have here. We really appreciate you. Thank you so much, man, Sissy. Let's go to Chantal. Chantal's out in Pretoria. Chantal, been a while. Welcome.
Welcome, King Andile. Here come the Boka. Here come the Boka. King Andile, I'm alive again because of the Springboks. Our ruthless Springboks edge out the France. 6 tries in the opening 31 minutes. What is sparking into a rugby game? King Andile, I want to salute our kings for, especially King Eben. Did you see what he did in the last 67 minutes, King Andile?
Yeah, that try was amazing.
He's the reason for us being so happy today, and all the kings of the Springboks. King Andile, I missed calling you, but all I want to say is salute to all the Springboks. God, I know they're going to come back with our World Cup. This is your Kimberley in Pretoria saluting you all. Sport Night Live. Here comes the Boka.
Chantal, I appreciate you. Let's go to Simplest. Simplest is our last one out in Cape Town. Simplest.
Yes, sir, man. You will love this. You know what, my brother? I want to say the fighting spirit of the Springboks. It's something else. Fighting against all odds, about 80,000 people making noise against you, and you come out with that. This is the final before the final. You win this game, you win the final. This is the same scenario. Liverpool against Barcelona, if you remember that. Coming back from 4 to beat Barcelona 4-0. This is the same. So the cup is coming home. Thank you, sir.
Simplest, I appreciate you. Renier, I keep dropping the line to say I hope to see you on Wednesday evening here at the SABC studios. We've got our people calling you. South Africa wants to see you. I hope we'll be able to see you. Thank you so much for always coming through.
Thank you very much, Andile, and it was a real honor to talk to you again. All I want to say is we've plucked those chickens.
Swart. People are catching you, of course, giving us the games every single weekend. I appreciate you, and thank you so much, Lawrence, for coming through.
No, thanks, Andile. Thanks for the opportunity. And obviously, the South Africans today, I think this week, there's a buzz. Everyone is like in such a good mood. I switch on the radio, every probably station that you come across, there's some sort of bok motion going on there. It's absolutely amazing what these Boks are doing to South Africans currently, especially this week.
I'd love to hear your opinions when you call in on 086-000-2160. Lawrence Sephaka, catch him on the weekend. He is on SABC Sport. Hopefully we get more rugby one of these days, because opinions and thought leaders such as these need to be seen and heard. I appreciate you. Olapar. Pela. That's all.